Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here. And so good to see you again. And I thank you so much for coming. And I thank you for your comments. I thank you for being live. I thank you for viewing this video, those of you who can't be with us today. And I thank you for your thumbs up and your comments. What we do on this channel, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, is every week, Friday at 1 o'clock, I answer one of your questions. And these are questions that you send in. You can put them in the comments below. You can send them to my email address. But these are questions that you ask of a general nature. Now, they can be a personal question, but have it as where the question will be of interest to many people, not just you. If you would like a private session, my information's right below here, down right between the video and the comments, and just give me a call. My answer or my phone number is on the website, or email me and we'll get you set up for a private session. On today's question, after we answer the question, we also get a message for everyone from Phillip. And this is one of my books. It's an oracle book, and each page has a different wisdom on it. And so we just open to any page to see what our wisdom for the week is going to be. So here where I am in rural Ohio, we are having a normal spring day. We're not getting a lot of sunshine out here, but it's starting to break through. And I'm hoping that it does, because I want to get out and do some yard work later today. So let us get started with our video. It doesn't look like anyone's ready to join us yet, so we're going to go ahead and start. So our question this week from one of our viewers, and I have to tell you, Phillip does have a sense of humor, and it comes out in this video. And I also have to tell you, the answer surprised me. And I want to also say, not only does Phillip have a sense of humor, sometimes he can just be a little, I don't know, strong, maybe I want to say. Hello, my beautiful friend here. Says, happy Friday, Diana. And hello, Phillip. And so good to see you today. Thank you. All right, here we go. And there's Lexi Luna as well. She says, hi, Diana and Phillip, sending much love and many blessings your way on this fabulous Friday. Thank you. We need them. And I want to also take a moment to say thank you to all of you who contacted me and asked about my beautiful Daisy after my dream, actually a visitation last week from two of my dogs in Spirit World. They're here for her, but she is just not ready to go. And she has made me promise not to use the vet. She's just not ready. So if all of you could say a prayer for her, because I think part of her fear of going is, as a pup, she had such a rough time and her ears are damaged still. She just didn't have a good life as a pup. And it was 2009 that she showed up at our county shelter, where I was a volunteer. In fact, I was on the board, and a friend of mine was the director, Allison. And I could not at the time take her because I had 4 other dogs, and it was just more than I could handle. But I just fell in love with her. And Allison at the time said, she's supposed to go home with you. And I said, I know, but can't take her yet. So Allison fostered her for me for a couple of years until only Freddie was left, because all my dogs at that time were aging. And they were all rescue dogs. So my 2 Shelties and passed, and Lady Luna passed, and there was only Freddie left. And so we brought our beautiful Daisy home. And we changed her name a little bit. Her name, because one half of her face is black and one half is white. Many of you have seen pictures of her on, even on here. She has YouTube videos of her own. And her name was Deuce, like Ace, Deuce, Trey, like a card game. And I changed it to Daisy. Daisy. My neighbor is Dixie. So I changed it to Daisy. And thank you, praying for Daisy. Excuse me. Lexi Luna says, thank you. and it is her will be done. But it is, it really is time for her to go, but not until she's ready. She's asked me not to take her to the vet, and I'm going to honor that, as hard as it is sometimes. All right. And she's not suffering. There's no suffering. It's just an age thing. And some days she bounces down the lane with me, and the next day she just wants to kind of stay real close to the house. So, and she does sleep a lot, so that's probably a good thing. And she does get treats, but all of her treats are a form of medicine. So thank you for your prayers. It's just, as we get older, our bodies don't work as well. Okay, back to our question for this week. It is, what is Philip's definition of what we call enlightenment? You ready? And here's how Philip starts out. But I almost feel like I want to apologize for him, but I won't. But he's kind of thinks it's funny. And he has just told me it's not necessarily funny, it's truth. So listen to it. All right, thank you. The question to the question is, what is behind the question? Remember, the question is, what is Philip's definition of what we call enlightenment? And Philip answers that by saying, the question to the question is, what is behind the question? Are we speaking of enlightenment as described in Buddhism or Hinduism or Sikhism? If so, this can easily be defined by dictionaries as the state of nirvana. Then the question becomes, what is nirvana? Or is the question about the age of enlightenment? This age took place in the 17th and 18th centuries in Europe following a dark period. That's an important, following a dark period. And Philip says, this speaks of a clue to enlightenment, does it not? In the spiritual sense, enlightenment is a state of development where suffering or darkness is no more. So we can say, whether within an individual or within a society, enlightenment is when the light illuminates the darkness and the darkness disappears. I'm going to repeat that. So we can say, whether within an individual or within a society, enlightenment is when the light illuminates the darkness and the darkness disappears. Looking at what humans are currently experiencing in the earth dimension, a time of enlightenment is due, and we do promise its arrival. Patience is needed, however, due to more enlightened souls are required to bring about an enlightened state to the state. A little humor there, he says, an enlightened state to the state. Okay. The question then becomes, how does one become enlightened? Studying with a Buddhist teacher, for example, may lead one to enlightenment, to where the cycle of life, death comes to its end, and the enlightened being no longer experiences suffering or any of the human emotions. It is the ultimate liberation. This state of spiritual liberation will differ depending upon the beliefs followed by the individual who partakes in the religious practice, for different practices have different definitions. If we look then to the age of enlightenment, and I want to just take a moment and go back, the state of spiritual liberation being the end of the life-death cycle, will be different depending upon if you're following Sikhism, if you're following Hinduism or Buddhism. They each have a different definition of enlightenment or nirvana. Philip goes on to say, if we then look to the age of enlightenment, we see this is an age where learning, reason, the arts, philosophy, and so forth came forth. We return now to remind you enlightenment follows darkness. It is in the essence of the light, with a capital L, illuminating the darkness. When you have been seeking the answer to a question and the answer comes, do you not then have a moment of enlightenment? When you have been frantic and then you are calm, do you not for a moment feel enlightened? When you have suffered and the suffering ceases, do you not have a moment of experiencing enlightenment? When in meditation, whether sitting in a pose or while watching the sunrise, do you not allow the silence of the mind to be the enlightenment? When exhaustion comes and you give up the struggle, do you not then feel the enlightenment of the surrender? You ask to define that which cannot be defined. For how do you define that which words diminish? Let us return then to what we have said. Enlightenment is the light, capital L, illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. I always like to read the last paragraph again because I think it just really kind of says so much. You ask to define that which cannot be defined, for how do you define that which words diminish? Let us return then to what we have said. Enlightenment is the light, capital L, illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. Enlightenment is the light illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. I like that. I like that. I like that. Whoa. Enlightenment is the light illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. In whatever level, I think Phillip is saying, whether it's the age of enlightenment, whether it's the Buddhist nirvana or the Hindu nirvana or Sanskrit or Sikhism or Jainism, enlightenment is the light illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. Whether it's a moment of us surrendering to our higher being, our higher self, that darkness disappears, doesn't it? And if we think about what Phillip always tells us light is, it's love. Not the romantic love. It's deeper than that. Much, much deeper. And I think, we've all had what I think Maslow, the psychologist, called peak moments. I think it was Maslow. Forgive me if I have the wrong psychologist there. Peak moments. And in those peak moments, there is no emotion. It is just all what I call a sense of awe. And I understand what Phillip says, that when he talks about words diminishing something, try to describe in words. And I'm a wordsmith. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I'm a wordsmith. I love words. But when we think about it, when we think about those enlightened moments, when we think about those deep spiritual moments, we cannot describe them in words. And when we try, words do seem to diminish the experience. Well, hello, Juliet. She says, wow, another fascinating answer. Thank you and happy Friday. Thank you. Glad you could join us, Juliet. And Lexi says, love that last sentence. Thank you. That last sentence, enlightenment is the light, illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. I'm with you. That in the whole thing is my favorite. So let's see what we get here, shall we? Now we just kind of flip through, and I will tell you, this book, you can sit down and read it each page if you want, but that's not going to give you the reason for the book. The book is really about when you have a question, you go to it, you just do what we did. You just stick your finger in a page and you think left page or right page, and you get an answer. Now, sometimes we have to think about these answers. I use this book every morning, and I say, Phillip, when I'm journaling in the morning, and I say, do you have a question for me or a wisdom for me? And it's amazing how throughout the day that wisdom will have meaning. I am hearing right, but there's also a strong left. If you heard right, then our intuition's just in sync. If you heard left, then what I want you to know is that's a message you need to pay attention to. All right, ready? Okay, the right is that for which you are thankful multiplies. I always connect these to our message. And if we think about those moments that we've had, moments of enlightenment, let's be thankful for those, because let's have them multiply. Because remember, That for which you are thankful multiplies. If you heard left, this is a message you need to hear. If you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? Wow. I'm going to read that again. If you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? Earlier this week, Wednesday, I believe, I did the monthly video, and Phillip says for May, and so if you haven't already watched it, please go back and please go watch it. And Phillip tells us May is a month for love. Now, I know some people interpret that as romantic love, and I'm not saying it's not that, but I'm also saying it's a month to really love ourselves more, to dig deeper into our hearts. And you probably can hear Lily, my Siamese, in the background. She's on the other side of the office door. I put her outside the office when I'm making these videos, but you can probably still hear her. She's fine. She's talking to one of her toys, and it's Mousy, and she's telling him what's what. And so she's also saying hello to all of you. But Phillip tells us this is a month for love, and it's a month to heal our hearts of all that is getting in the way of our enlightenment. Good month for it, Phillip. Thank you. And perfect question. Thank you from the viewer who sent that in. Some people don't like their names mentioned in public, so I just normally don't. But if you want me to tell who asked the question, feel free to say, mention me. I want to be known. All right. So if you heard left, if you cannot make peace within your heart, how can nations make peace within the world? And for all of us, that which you are thankful for multiplies. And I want to read this last sentence again before we say goodbye, because I think it is so perfect. Enlightenment is the light illuminating the darkness until the darkness disappears. Oh, my friends, let's clear our hearts of our angers, our jealousies, our sadness. Let's let our hearts be full of love. And let's help heal the world that way as we heal our own lives. I love you all. I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you for those of you who have come and watched us live and made the comments. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for receiving the love from my home to yours, from all of our kitties and Daisy. And thank you for the love that you send to us. Until we meet again next week. See you then.